We all have days that are challenging and stressful and difficult. So, what is the easiest way to get through those days and maintain a sense of calm and peace and our sense of control? And why is it that there are some people who, no matter how stressful or challenging their days are, they seem to be able to get through and stay calm and stay in control and not let it bother them? So today I'm going to talk a lot about how to get through those challenging and stressful days and to be able to build and call on your resources and skills and what I call your inner strength. So today we're going to build inner strength, and we're going to talk about how to deal with those stressful days. We'll talk a little bit about more of the long-term stress as well. So I'm Dr. Ellen. I am happy to welcome everybody in. This is a topic that I get asked a lot about because we all live lives where there are things that are out of our control. And no matter how hard we try to plan our days and to keep control of our environment and our life, both at work and at home with our family and for ourselves, there are things that crop up that are out of our control, that are surprises and are unexpected, that we need to deal with. So today we're going to talk about finding that strength, those inner resources to handle those surprises, those challenges, those stresses that we know come to us whether we expect them or not. It's part of life. So again, I want to welcome everybody in. I am happy to see people who are joining. And let's start talking about those stresses in life. So it may be a challenging issue at work, maybe a difficult boss or a last-minute project or a change in something at work. Maybe a stressful issue at home with family or a child or a partner. Or maybe something happening at home. Maybe you have a leak in your home and you need a plumber now, right away, or something else. So when you're feeling stressed and challenged like that, how do you get the stress to stop? And when you're feeling worried, how do you stop the worry so you can deal with the issues? Because so often when we're dealing with these situations, we hear that inner voice saying, "Oh, I can't believe this is happening," or "I don't know how to deal with this," or "I'm not going to be able to handle this." Voice like that. And then there are many people who face challenges and they don't seem to turn on the mental stress or the physical stress. They don't ruminate, they don't languish or worry even in the midst of the most challenging situations. So how can you be one of them? How do we prepare ourselves to get through life's journeys with poise and calm and peace? Again, we're going to be talking a lot about that today with a lot of solutions. So let's first talk about some specific examples that some of the women that I work with tell me about. So let's talk about some challenges at work that occur on somewhat of a regular basis with the women that I speak with. So your boss may give you a last-minute project, or you may find that you're coming up on a deadline, or you're having trouble with a work issue, or you're dealing with a person at work that's difficult, or a difficult interaction with your boss, or you're at work and you're worrying about home or your family or things you need to do when you get home. Do any of these sound familiar? And if you have any other examples, you're welcome to put them in the chat. I am monitoring the comments. Let's talk about some frequent examples of challenges at home. So maybe a child or a family member is sick or has a particular need or issue that's active. Or again, we talked about something in your home where there's an immediate problem, like you need a plumber or a carpenter, where there's something that you need to take care of. Or it's morning time and you're behind schedule and you're starting the day out stressed. Or you can't find something that you need for work for that day or that your child needs for school. And what about yourself and certain types of stress? Maybe you're not feeling well, but you feel you can't take the day off as a mom or even for work. You need to go forward in your day with all the combination of your responsibilities, even if you feel that there's some stresses and triggers happening. Does any of this sound familiar? So let's talk about two types of challenges. One is a particular day that's stressful. We're going to talk a lot about that today and how to handle it. And the second is when you feel that stress is on a continuing basis. It's pretty much a repeating loop and continuing. So we're going to talk about the first type first. What if you encounter just a stressful, difficult, challenging day? So I want to explain the strategies and solutions first and why they work. So we all have a mind-body connection. And when we're feeling stressed and challenged, again, we usually have that inner voice, that internal chatter. And we're going on about, oh, I can't believe this is happening, or I don't know how I'm going to handle this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this done. And there's a mind connection. When you think stress, your thoughts transfer to your body, and your body becomes stressed also. Sometimes we feel it, sometimes we don't. But sometimes we can feel our stomach respond. Sometimes we can feel our breathing change. Sometimes we can even feel our heartbeat change when we're stressed. And it's really hard to interrupt that brain chatter when it's really a habit and we're used to doing it. So I'm going to give you a trick, really a hack, to stop that internal chatter. And it's hard to say to yourself, stop stressing. It's hard to say, it really would be hard for me to tell you, stop that internal voice talking stress. Because if we try to tell our brain not to do something, let me give you an example. What if I tell you, don't think about a purple elephant? What's the first thing you think about? A purple elephant. Because the brain doesn't work with don't. When it hears something, it thinks about it. So it's really difficult to think to yourself, don't feel stressed. Stop feeling stressed. And that's why when you try to do that, it doesn't work, because that's not the way the brain works. So I'm going to give you a brain hack, and I talked about the mind-body connection. And one way of getting to the mind without doing it directly is to work through the body backwards. So interrupt that pattern, that mind-body reaction, with a physical response. So when you're feeling really stressed, I'm going to talk about a few options within the body. For example, first, you could try just take some deep breaths. Just really sit for a moment in the moment and take some deep calming breaths. Breathe in and out for a few minutes. And you'll find that when you're thinking about your breathing, lo and behold, you can get rid of that internal chatter. That's one way of doing it, and it works for a lot of people. Another thing you could do is just rotate and stretch your arms and roll your arms at the side. Again, we're doing something physical. Just to get our mind off of our stressful brain. Sometimes just clap your hands and just look at your hands, think about your hands. Again, it's a brain hack, helping you get your mind off of that stress loop that's going through your mind. A lot of people use what's called tapping, and you can start tapping on parts of on your head or parts of your body. And again, you start thinking about your body then, and lo and behold, that inner chatter disappears. And then if you can calmly get back into your day, that can be helpful. And the key is that if you can find peace in this moment, if you can take yourself out of the stress and find peace in this moment, you can move into the next moment feeling peaceful. And that's the key, to get yourself into a peaceful state. Even in the beginning for short periods of time, and you may feel like you've done it. It doesn't always last long term, but you do it over and over again and work, and it can help. So a little longer term option is if you meditate, and to try to start thinking of your meditation, or even to have some affirmations in mind. I can do this. I can handle this. I can get through this. I'm strong. So the point is, you want to take control of the moment, not let stress take control of you. And I've given you some general examples. When I do speak to people individually and I have a conversation, I usually come up with some customized and personalized suggestions as well. But I've certainly given you a place to start with some suggestions on what to do. Again, the goal is to take control, not stress control you, but you control your reactions and your responses. So life doesn't have to be overwhelming. You can overtake that feeling that your brain is trying to control you and your body, and you can take control back. Now, what about more of the long-term stressful feeling over time, where a lot of people feel, you know what, my life is just a loop, a repeated loop of stress, day to day to day, and I just can't seem to get out of that loop. People almost describe like a hamster wheel. I go from one day to the next, and I just can't escape it. And that is a more complicated question, but I'm going to address it today as well. And the first step really is to think about your moments and to try to get control of a moment. That can be really helpful. But again, to get you out of that hamster wheel and that habit, a habit is a more complicated thing to get out of, and usually does require more customized, personalized responses. So I do want to invite you, if you do feel that you'd like to continue this conversation and get more personalized suggestions, feel free to schedule an appointment with me. I am happy to have a conversation with you and discuss this further. But again, I do want to give you some starting points and certainly some ways to get control in the moment on a particular day and to start addressing the issue, the long-term issue. So again, whether you're dealing with in the moment or long-term, you want to teach your body and have your body experienced in ways of calming down, so that when you need to, on a particular day or over time, you can call on your body to relax, and you know what it feels like to do that. So I'd like you, when you can, to practice whatever it is that gives you a sense of calm, a sense of control in your body, a sense of peace and joy. Maybe it is deep breathing, maybe meditation. What else relaxes you? For a lot of people, it's hiking or walking in nature, and you can feel calm and that you're taking deep breaths. Some people like running and jogging. For others, it's going to a gym or other sports. For some people, it's art where you can get in the flow, or music. Many of you know that I also am a songwriter and a singer. So for me, music is my calm place, and it sets my soul in bliss. So what sets your soul in bliss, in happiness, in calm, in control? And how can you practice those things on more of a regular basis that you might might be doing so that you can call on it when you need to. In terms of the long term, I also want to bring up the issue and have you think about what causes your stress. And I'm going to talk about internal triggers and external triggers. So internal triggers are your own sources of stress, things that make you feel stressed. You may feel you're running behind schedule, or you have a project that has to get done either for work or for home. Or is your stress triggered by something outside of you? Maybe your boss at work making a demand on you, or your mother or mother-in-law who calls you at work when you really don't have time to talk, or your partner or spouse or your kids or a family member or a friend that did something that upsets you. And when that happens, there are all different types of strategies that we can build. It's helpful to have what I call caring boundaries. And people often feel that when you express boundaries to other people, it makes you sound rude or impolite. And that can't be further from the truth. I talk with my clients about what I call caring boundaries. And really, if you can tell people when it's best to work with you, when you can be most attentive to them, it really is therapeutic for your relationship. It is helpful. The issue is learning to express it that way. And I do talk about boundary scripts with people to help people kind of formulate how to express that, especially to a boss, where you may feel a little self-conscious about creating limits in what you need and what would help you. If you'd like to know more about that, let me know. Give me a call or set up an appointment with me. And I'm happy to talk about some boundary scripts and what that means with you. And again, when we're on that loop, we have to think about what are the causes that may be contributing. Very often we live in a world where we're multitasking because we feel we have so much to do, and we think, well, if I handle 4 things at once, I'll get them all done faster. But that just builds and elevates stress. And again, multitasking is a habit. So if I tell you to stop multitasking, some people can actually figure out how to do it. And for some people, it's more of a long-term project where they do need some help. Again, I've given you a lot of information here to help you. If you'd like to continue this conversation and speak to me more, feel free to set up an appointment. I really want you to feel that this is within your control and that you can do this, that you can look at the other people in the world that you can think of who really have a stressful day and they just get through it like it's just any other day. You can do this too. I want you to be able to have this in your life. I want you to build the resources and the skills and the inner strength so that when those challenging days occur and those stressful days, you just soar through them and you soar through life with challenges and stresses like you're the leader of your life and that you are the master of your life and you can handle anything that comes your way. So again, make sure that you check into our group during the week and that you see all the posts with recommendations that I do during the week. Make sure you check for the polls that I put in so your voice is heard. And again, I'll be back here next week with another topic. I do want to tell you that in 2 weeks from today, not next week, but in 2 weeks, I'm going to be doing a free workshop. And I usually charge at least $250 for the workshop. But I'm going to be doing it free in our group. The workshop is going to be about handling work-life balance and the types of goals that you want to create for yourself and how you can get from where you are to where you want to be in life, at home, at work, and in the various parts where you want work-life balance to work for you. So put it on your calendar 2 Sundays from today. Make sure that you come. If you have any friends or family who you think may be interested, make sure that they know the name of our group and that they ask to join our group. I'm happy to admit people who are friends of our members. So again, if you have friends or families or sisters or relatives who you think can benefit by what you hear here and by coming to that free workshop that I have coming up in 2 weeks, I think it's the second Sunday in September. Let them know to join our group. And again, let's build these skills and reserves and inner strength for you and those you love and care for. So I will look forward to seeing you here next week and the following week, and as often as you can. I will see you in group during the week, and I look forward to seeing you here again next week.